Okay guys, Frank from the Carnivore Fix. So last week I wrapped up my 7 foods that you need to kick series. Very important series. If you haven't watched it, go on back. And the last food that was on the list was vegetables. Now, a lot of you are still very confused about the vegetable debate. And honestly, this has been probably the hardest part of the entire journey for me because, I really didn't love the way vegetables tasted. I actually didn't really find them all that appealing, to be honest with you. It was more about the deception that I couldn't understand how it was being promoted as some of the overall healthiest food that you could eat, and it was actually toxic. So as promised, we're going to go deep on oxalates today and what they are and how I experienced some really bizarre dumping symptoms. So stick around to the end and I've got some great information to give to you. Okay, now I had shared in other videos that I had a massive garden. Kale, spinach, sweet potatoes, beets, and I ate a lot of homegrown, organic, oxalate-rich vegetables. And our family also went to Costco and bought the big bag of almonds.
I used to eat those all the time.
And it's funny how they don't actually say oxalates on the bag, but
And they're unsalted for the gross.
they're so hard on your gut.
They're gross. They're so gross. They're unsalted.
Not the average bag, the big bag, the extra large bag, because I believe that a handful of raw almonds were better for me than the chocolate bar was any day of the week. So when I heard that my healthy vegetable garden and my handful of raw almonds may be the source of some of my problems, I was left with a lot of questions, more questions than answers. Now, I was diagnosed 2 years ago with 12 chronic diseases: gout, bursitis, chronic inflammation, psoriasis, psoriatic arthritis, fatty liver, joint pain that made it hard just to get off the couch some nights, and the burning in my feet most days from the neuropathy. Well, it always felt like I was walking in water. I had the gritty feeling behind my eyes, and I blamed it on that I was getting old because this is what I was told. It's just the effects of getting old. And you're likely thinking that your aches and pains are as well. And I'm here to tell you, understand that this is not just a normal way of living. Just because you're getting older doesn't mean that you should feel this. But the healthier that I ate, the worse my symptoms got. And I was eating salads at every single meal. I thought this was and would help me fight my inflammation, make me healthier, make me feel better. So again, forgive me when I was a little bit skeptical when I heard that the same salad that I was eating all the time could be causing the inflammation in my body. When I went carnivore, most of my symptoms started clearing up in the first few weeks. But there was a stretch there when it actually felt a little bit worse and the joint pain flared and my feet continued to burn at night. But some of the most bizarre symptoms, I was getting these little bumps all over my back. They were almost like little whiteheads, and there were hundreds of them. And I didn't, feel them much. I mean, it was only when my wife was actually scratching my back one night and she felt them. And then I looked and I was like, holy mackerel. So this is why the community that I'm in is so important, because when I shared this on one of my calls, I was told that this is likely just an oxalate dump. And I said, a what? And this is the first time I heard about the word oxalate. What is oxalate and why am I dumping them? So what are these rascally little things called oxalates? Really, how bad could it be? Now, plants make them as a defense. Think of oxalates like little tiny shards of glass, so small that you'd never see them or even feel them. And most of the time they work through the system and most people can absorb them without ever noticing them. However, when you consume a lot of oxalate-rich foods, like I was, spinach, almonds, beets, sweet potatoes, my favorite, black tea, even chocolate, you can overwhelm the system and these little buggers begin to cause a whole slew of problems in your body, like the joint pain, the back pain, the feet burning, the gritty eyes, headaches, brain fog. I had all of these, but they also show up as painful urine, blood in your urine, cloudy urine, continuous bladder infections, and yes, kidney stones. And then you've got digestive issues like abdominal cramping, gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, nausea, and other issues like overall stiffness, and muscles, aches, and pains, and bone discomfort. And of course, there is the skin issues, rashes, redness, and the burning and tingling sensation like pins and needles, numbness, headaches, fatigue, brain fog, and generally feeling like crap. Sounds like most of our human discomforts are related to these little oxalate compounds. Oxalates are the plant's way of saying, please don't eat me. Once you begin chewing and masticating these foods, you release this compound into your system. Our bodies are designed to handle them for the most part, but too many for too long begin to cause all of the symptoms that I just listed. Now, you may have heard of the term oxalic acid. This is the chemical compound found within the plant. Now, picture a bar of soap. Oxalic acid is that bar of soap. The second it touches water or anything else in the plant or in your body, it grabs onto a mineral, usually calcium, and it turns it into an oxalate. Your body has no way to break these shards down. It's not like the protein and fat. So the oxalates got two options. They pass through you and leave in your urine, or they don't make it out at all. And they get stored in your joints, in your kidneys, in your skin, anywhere your body can tuck them away so they're not floating around inside you. You may have heard of kidney stones. These are calcium oxalate stones that form in the kidneys. And here's where calcium comes from into this story. When oxalates meet the calcium in your digestive system, the two will bind together right there. And these crystals are mostly too large to be absorbed, so it simply passes out through your stool. In many cases, this is actually a protective measure because less of the oxalate reaches your bloodstream. But if oxalate is absorbed first and then later meets the calcium inside your kidneys, the two can crystallize into tiny, sharp calcium oxalate crystals. And over time, these crystals can grow into kidney stones, which listen, 80% of all kidney stones are that very thing. Now, for years, I was storing shards. Every salad, every smoothie, every handful of almonds, a few more shards, quietly getting tucked into my tissues. And I had no idea. Remember, we all thought we were fueling our bodies with the healthy foods. That is what we were told on the food guides. So when I went carnivore, I stopped putting new shards in. That's when the dumping started. Your body doesn't just leave the old shards that are sitting there once you actually stop putting shards in. So it starts pulling them back out of the storage of where they're sitting to finally get them out of your body. This is what your body does. And that process is called oxalate dumping. And it can feel worse before it feels better because those shards have to move through you on their way out of you. And that's not the diet, the carnivore lifestyle failing you. That's your body finally taking out the trash. So once I actually understood what was happening, here's exactly what I did. Step one, even though I decided to go all in when I began my carnivore lifestyle, I do not recommend this, especially if you are coming from a long history of consuming high oxalate foods. Now, when you stop eating all the offenders, cold turkey, your body begins the process of taking out the trash and it begins dumping all at once. And this can affect people differently. So cutting out all oxalate foods all at once, along with eliminating your seed oils and all the sugars and all the carbs, this can make the dumping systems feel like your choice to go carnivore was just simply the wrong thing to do. And I do recommend easing into this over a few weeks. So here's the thing. Let's go to step two, because if you're like me and you're that type of person that's all in, all that I did was I just drank a lot of water and I salted it. And then I added a slice of lemon and I had a cup or two every day of green tea because it helps to bind the oxalates together. So think of your kidneys like a drain. The oxalates leave through that drain, and a dry drain clogs and builds up. So I made sure that I was getting enough water and electrolytes in every single day, especially the salt. Really need those electrolytes, guys, to keep things moving through easily. Now, step three, I'd like to include a lot of calcium-rich foods with my meals. Bone broth, bone marrow, and bone-in meat. And the calcium can bind with that, with the oxalates in your gut before they ever get absorbed into your body. So don't avoid the calcium, guys. It is an extremely helpful tool going through this. This does not mean to go out and consume large doses of calcium carbonate or other calcium supplements. It means eat nose to tail and getting adequate calcium from those bones in the carnivore lifestyle. And this will help you to absorb the oxalates in the gut and help move them out easily, often, without even noticing that they're there. They're gonna take off. Step number 4, I gave myself the grace during those flare weeks because, the dumping process is your body is healing. So the flares revealed that the healing was happening. And this happening in cycles and still continues today. So be patient. So when the joints ache and the fatigue happens and you get the gritty in your eyes and the skin is irritated, these are all classic dumping symptoms. And when they showed up, I slowed down. I hydrated more and I let it pass through my system. I let my body do the work. I didn't panic and I didn't use this as proof that this lifestyle doesn't work and I'm just going to turn back to my old ways. Step 5, I educated myself. I read, I watched videos, I learned everything I could about oxalates. And this is where I discovered the work of Sally K. Norton, who wrote an entire book on the topic called Toxic Superfoods. And once I read this book, so much of what I was living through finally made sense to me. She has become a trusted voice in helping me understand what this is, because I still get them today, and why it's happening. You're going to think that this sounds backwards. Cutting vegetables to feel better. I know I did. I thought so, but my body told me the truth, and the experience, it was real. Okay, so at the time of filming this video, I am 799 days of eating this way. And the worst of my dumping experience was at about week 6. And then again around 8 months. And then again, just recently at about, the 2-year mark. And your body is brilliant and it wants to heal. And it's going to take time to get this done. The burning in my feet is gone. That neuropathy is gone. The gritty feeling behind my eyes has disappeared. My joints feel great and the best that they have in decades. And the bumps that were on my back lasted a few weeks and they just disappeared without any intervention from my doctor or creams or anything. So again, guys, I let my body do the work of healing, and periodically I just drank a little more green tea or some black tea or, just to help ease off the symptoms. I didn't expect vegetables to be part of the problem. I really didn't. I'd spent years thinking I just needed more of them. So I ate more of them, more oxalate-rich vegetables. So for me, the oxalate dumping symptoms, I'll be honest with you, the dumping phase is not fun. I know it wasn't fun. Nobody enjoys feeling worse to get better. But listen, you got to make a mess in order to see it cleaned up, right? But I am here on the other side, and I want to share it with you that it's worth every bump in the road. See what I did there? The bumps will pass, guys. The rashes, they'll pass. The aches and pains, they're also going to pass. And you will be happy if you stick with this diet, because you will be cleaner, less inflamed, and well on your way to a restored body for the long haul. Okay, what does this mean for you? If you've got joint pain, skin issues, fatigue that never quite goes away, and if you've been told to eat more greens to fix this, I'm not saying to stop eating your vegetables tomorrow. I'm saying this: if you're already moving towards carnivore, or if you've just started and you suddenly feel worse before you feel better, don't assume that you're doing it wrong. Listen, you're not doing it wrong. Your body is healing. We have all believed that eating our greens and filling our plates with the healthy veg is the way to optimal health, when in fact, this could be the very thing that's making you sick. If you are choosing to do clean keto and keep the vegetables in your diet, stick to the low oxalate ones. Ease down instead of quitting them all at once. Drink your water with your salt and your lemon. Drink some green tea. And listen, you're going to go through the dumping. This will help ease the dumping symptoms. Give your body time to clear out what it's been storing. Now, I have put together a full guide on this to make it easy for you, the symptoms to expect from start to finish. A real list of which foods are high in oxalates and low in oxalates, and how to get through the transition without giving up, because this is the biggest thing. I don't want you to give up on what you're trying to accomplish here, 101. And it's free. Just drop me your email and I'll send it over right away. The link is going to be down below in the description. Now, if you know somebody that's dealing with the joint pain or skin issues or already eating clean and still not getting better, send them this video on oxalates. It's going to open their eyes. I hope it does. It might be the missing piece for them as well as you. And hey guys, if you're new here, Please be sure to hit that thumbs up because YouTube likes this and it gives me a good idea if I should keep making these types of videos. Also, if you want to continue to learn more about the carnivore journey, please subscribe. I put a new video out every Monday and I put a couple of shorts out periodically, and I'd love to have you come along for the ride. Now, until then, trust the process, trust your body, and trust the one who made it. And as always, fix your food because it's going to fix your life.